Second reading, House File Number 4556.
Second reading. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, members, this is the fourth of our COVID-related bills representing the negotiation and conversation between the four legislative caucuses, the administration, and the governor's office. This bill provides $1.25 million in funding for Second Harvest Heartland for milk and protein. It provides an extension of 60 days for farmer-lender mediation. It provides MA coverage for testing and alternative health care. It codifies the Department of Health Executive Order 20-32, providing flexibility for the health department in dealing with the crisis. It provides for telemedicine extension, harmless error for wills, civil court deadline extensions as requested by the Chief Justice, a deadline extension for child support motions. It permits remote marriage applications, provides flexibility for local meetings. It provides exemption from a liquor posting requirement, various transportation issues, and the bill also contains Health and Human Services technical corrections. A number of the lead House negotiators on the Democratic side are available in the chamber for question, members, and I ask for a yes vote on the bill.
There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Drazkowski moves to amend House File Number 4556 as follows. The amendment is coded A20-0742.
The member from Wabasha, Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd actually like to withdraw this particular amendment. It's not drafted properly, and I have an oral amendment in lieu of this, if that works for you, Madam Speaker.
State your oral amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Oh, wait, I got ahead of myself. Representative Drazkowski withdraws the A20-0742. Representative Drazkowski, please state your oral amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, on page 11, I would move to delete lines 27, 28, and 29, and then to renumber accordingly, Madam Speaker.
Please restate your oral amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The oral amendment would be to delete on page 11, lines 27, 28, and 29.
Clerk will report the amendment.
Drazkowski moves to amend House File Number 4556 as follows. Page 11, delete lines 27, 28, and 29. Renumber the sections in sequence.
Representative
Drazkowski, to your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, this is a big bill. There's a lot of stuff in it. This particular section of the bill, section 13, which was section 12 in the old draft, and Mr. Majority Leader, I'm hoping later if someone could outline for us what are the new provisions in this bill in the latest draft, which we just got recently, compared to the original one, because I didn't read the new provisions in the bill with this new draft. But members, the amendment takes out a paragraph in the bill that gives full authority to the Department of Health over 17 chapters of statute. You heard that right, members. 17 full chapters of statute. And so in any of these 17 chapters, the Commissioner of Health may temporarily delay, waive, or modify any provision in any of those 17 chapters of law. That's what we have in front of us, members, in the bill here. I just started to dig into them and nose around in some of these chapters a little bit, members. If you like guns, chapter 144.05, it says the Department of Health can't collect gun data. So that's just one thing that I found in 4.5 or 5 minutes starting to look in chapter 144. Chapter 14, as you know, goes with rulemaking. There's a bunch of other chapters I don't know a lot about. 62D Representative David's deals with insurance. You're probably familiar with that chapter. There's a whole section on HMOs and how they operate in there. These are very deep chapters of law that this bill, as presented, members, gives the government full authority to either delay, waive, or modify anything in there that relates to how businesses operate, how the government is supposed to operate, and how people interact with their government and those businesses. So, members, Madam Speaker, I see this provision, specifically these 3 lines, is very irresponsible for us to bring forward in the bill. We are basically giving the authority to the executive branch to have full reign over 17 different chapters in statute. Urge your support to delete these from the bill, Madam Speaker and members. It shouldn't change anything else in the bill, but will instead say to the executive branch and the Department of Health, if you indeed have provisions in those chapters which are very deep and voluminous, if indeed you have things that you would like the legislature to change for this emergency today that we are under from the governor, if indeed they need to be changed, bring them to us. You have thousands of employees. You should be able to bring them to the legislature and tell us which provisions you need changed in order to effectively do your work for the people of the state of Minnesota. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Discussion to the Drazkowski amendment. The member from Olmsted, Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. Well, members, I urge you to vote no on the Drazkowski oral amendment. So first of all, members, you need to understand this was negotiated. Obviously, there was agreement between the 4 caucuses, at least some members of the 4 caucuses, purporting to speak for the 4 caucuses, to the language in this bill. After this language was agreed to, the governor put this language in an executive order. So this is already in operation because he was under the impression that we had agreed to this. I want to direct your attention to a section at the beginning of section 13 where it limits what is the authority that is being given in this section. So it says here that, first of all, beginning on the date the governor declared the peacetime emergency for COVID-19, I'm paraphrasing here, the Commissioner of Health is granted temporary authority as described and limited in this section to protect the health and safety of the public. And then there is this very important language. The temporary authority granted to the Commissioner in this section may only be used for purposes related to preparing for, preventing, or responding to an outbreak of COVID-19 and for preserving access to programs and services provided, licensed, or regulated by the Department of Health. So contrary to what Representative Drazkowski is proposing here, this is not just giving government the authority to just do anything and everything that they may want to do. This is limited for a specific purpose to respond to the emergency that we are in. And members, it would be great if we could micromanage every aspect of this emergency, but the reality is that we as legislators cannot. So yeah, there is a degree of trust in this. There certainly is a degree of trust, but you gotta trust somebody because we have a lot of concern about what's going on here. And we have one of the best departments of health in the country, and we have people who are doing their best to try to manage the emergency. But let's face it, there are certain restrictions in law that make it very difficult to move nimbly. And those of you who like to rail against regulation generally probably understand this pretty well, that once in a while there are regulations that get in the way. And during this emergency, it is necessary to give the department some flexibility so that they can do what's needed for Minnesotans, for their health and safety and well-being, and not have to come back to the legislature for everything. So I will ask you again to vote no on the Drazkowski amendment.
Further discussion? Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, thank you, Representative Liebling. You made my argument for me. They can use it for preparing for. Anything can be used for preparing for, responding to. And members, I don't have to remind you, you guys are in these chapters regularly. You know how deep and big our chapters of law in the state of Minnesota here are. We have no idea what's in these chapters. I mean, not one person here knows everything in every one of these 17 voluminous chapters that we are handing over the authority to this government to do. Now, members, Madam Speaker, many Minnesotans are becoming weary of this emergency right now. And so, with that being the case, this just foists this is a legislature foisting yet one more big power to this government during this emergency to further tell Minnesotans what they can and can't do. And not only that, as Representative Liebling pointed out, this not only begins from now going forward, it goes back to the date that the first emergency was declared on March 13th. So what it says is, government, anything you've done from then till now is okay. We're basically giving you an okay on anything you've done. Makes you wonder, has our government been following the law during this emergency or not? A very good question that I think many people wonder when they see this type of language coming in a bill like this, as important as this, taking these authorities from the people. The statutes belong to the people of the state of Minnesota. They're their laws, and handing them over to one branch of government. Madam Speaker, thank you for letting me bring this amendment forward. Members, thank you for your time in discussing this, and I urge your support of this very important amendment.
All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. There are no further amendments at the desk.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
State your point of order, Representative
Madam
Drazkowski.
Speaker, do the rest of the people that are on the call get an opportunity to vote on the amendment?
Representative Drazkowski, if you would have sought a roll call, there would have been a roll call.
I didn't hear the voices of the people on the call, Madam Speaker.
Representative Drazkowski, I made the call on the basis of what I heard in the chamber.
Can we have division, Madam Speaker?
The clerk will call the roll on the amendment.
Mike, you ready?
Members, the clerk will call the roll on the Drazkowski amendment. Please listen carefully for your name and answer when your name is called. And please do your best to quiet the ambient noise.
Go ahead. Acom.
No.
Acom, no. Albright.
Aye.
Albright, aye. Anderson.
Aye.
Anderson, aye. Backer.
Aye.
Backer, aye. Bonner.
Bonner, nay.
Bonner, no. Barr.
Yes.
Barr, aye. Baker.
Aye.
Baker, aye. Becker Finn.
No.
Becker Finn, no. Bennett.
Bennett, aye.
Bennett, aye. Bernardi.
No.
Bernardi, no. Bierman.
No.
Bierman, no. Bow. Bow, aye. Brand.
No.
Brand, no. Cantrell.
No.
Cantrell, no. Carlson, A. Carlson A, no. Carlson L,
No.
Carlson L, no. Christensen,
No.
Christensen, no. Claflin,
No.
Claflin, no. Considine,
Considine. No.
Considine, no. Daniels,
Daniels? Yes.
Daniels, yes. Doubt, Doubt, yes. Davids, Davids, aye. Davney, Davney, no. Dean,
No.
Dean, no. Damath,
Damath, aye.
Damath, aye. Detmer, Detmer, aye. Drazkowski, Drazkowski, aye. Eklund,
No.
Eklund, no. Edelson,
No.
Edelson, no. Elkins,
No.
Elkins, no. Erickson, Erickson, aye. Fabian,
Aye.
Fabian, aye. Fisher,
No.
Fisher, no. Franson,
Yes.
Franson, aye. Freiberg,
No.
Freiberg, no. Garofalo, Garofalo, aye. Gomez,
No.
Gomez, no. Green,
Yes.
Green, aye. Grossel,
Aye.
Grossel, aye. Gruenhagen,
Gruenhagen, aye.
Gruenhagen, aye. Gunther,
Aye.
Gunther, aye. Haley,
Aye.
Haley, aye. Halverson, Halverson, no. Hamilton,
Aye.
Hamilton, aye. Hanson,
No.
Hanson, no. Hassan,
No.
Hassan, no. Hausman,
Houseman, no.
Hausman, no. Heinrich,
Aye.
Heinrich, aye. Heinzeman, Heinzeman, aye. Her,
No.
Her, no. Hertos,
Aye.
Hertos, aye. Hornstein,
No.
Hornstein, no. Howard, Howard, no. Hewitt,
No.
Hewitt, no. Johnson,
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Jordan,
No.
Jordan, no. Jurgens,
Aye.
Jurgens, aye. Keel,
Aye.
Keel, aye. Cleavorn, Cleavorn, no. Cagle, Cagle, no. Katiza Watun,
No.
Katiza Watun, no. Kosnick,
Aye.
Kosnick, aye. Creshaw, Creshaw, Kunish Podine,
Kunis Podine, no.
Kunish Podine, no. Lehman,
Lehman, aye.
Lehman, aye. Lee,
No.
Lee, no. Lesh, Lesh, no. Liebling, Liebling, no. Lean,
No.
Lean, no. Lily,
No.
Lily, no. Lippert,
No.
Lippert, no. Lislagard,
No.
Lislagard, no. Long, Long, no. Lucero,
Yes.
Lucero, aye. Lewick,
Aye.
Lewick, aye. Mahoney,
No.
Mahoney, no. Mann,
No.
Mann, no. Mariani,
No.
Mariani, no. Markwart,
No.
Markwart, no. Mason, Mason, no. McDonald,
Yes.
McDonald, aye. Mecklin,
Meckland, aye.
Mecklin, aye. Miller, Miller, aye. Moeller, Moeller, no. Moran,
No.
Moran, no. Morrison,
No.
Morrison, no. Munson, Munson, aye. Murphy, Murphy, Nash,
Aye.
Nash, aye. Nelson M,
No.
Nelson M, no. Nelson N,
Nelson N, yes.
Nelson N, aye. New, New, aye. Nor,
No.
Nor, no. Nornis,
Aye.
Nornis, aye. Novotny,
Aye.
Novotny, aye. O'Driscoll, O'Driscoll, aye. Olson,
No.
Olson, no. O'Neill,
Aye.
O'Neill, aye. Pulowski,
No.
Pulowski, no. Purcell,
No.
Purcell, no. Petersburg,
Aye.
Petersburg, aye. Pearson,
Aye.
Pearson, aye. Pinto,
No.
Pinto, no. Poppy, Poppy, no. Poston,
Aye.
Poston, aye. Pryor,
No.
Pryor, no. Quam, Quam, aye. Richardson,
No.
Richardson, no. Robbins,
Robbins, aye.
Robbins, aye. Runbeck, Runbeck, aye. Sandell,
No.
Sandell, no. Sandsted,
No.
Sandsted, no. Salk,
No.
Salk, no. Schumacher,
No.
Schumacher, no. Schultz,
No.
Schultz, no. Scott, Scott, aye. Stevenson,
No.
Stevenson, no. Sundin,
No.
Sundin, no. Swazinski,
Yes.
Swazinski, aye. Tabke, Tabke, no. Tice,
Aye.
Tice, aye. Torkelson,
Aye.
Torkelson, aye. Erdahl,
Aye.
Erdahl, aye. Vang,
No.
Vang, no. Vogel,
Aye.
Vogel, aye. Wagenius,
No.
Wagenius, no. Wozlowick,
No.
Wozlowick, no. West,
Aye.
West, aye. Winkler,
No.
Winkler, no. Walgamot,
No.
Walgamot, no. Zhang Jie,
No.
Zhang Jie, no. Zhang Ti,
No.
Zhang Ti, no. Joachim,
No.
Joachim, no. Speaker Hartman, Speaker Hartman, no. Two to go back to. Creeshaw, Murphy. Go. Creeshaw and Murphy. Call him. Creeshaw, Kreshaw. Murphy. Murphy.
No. Yes. No.
Murphy. Murphy votes.
No.
Murphy votes aye.
No.
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 How is she still hilarious and she's not here?
You are muted.
And Kurt Dow gets the last laugh on the mute button. A division having been requested, there being 57 ayes and 76 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted. The speaker's sense of hearing and spidey senses are correct. Representative Dowd.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raise to a point of parliamentary inquiry.
State your parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate what happened there, and you, I think, chose correctly to actually call the roll of the members, but that was a division vote, not a roll call vote. We do have a process in the chamber for requesting a roll call vote. I would ask if you could remind the chamber what the process is to request a roll call vote, and if they actually want one, that's what should be requested. I would also ask that the results of this, I assume this was a division vote, and the results of that would not be itemized in the journal.
Representative Dowd, that's my understanding. In a division, the number is recorded, but the votes of the individual members are not recorded in the journal.
That's correct.
Members, if you would like a roll call on a vote, you can ask for 15 hands. Under the current circumstances, we would be required to ask each member in turn whether they were raising their hand. But a division having been requested after the vote was called, that was in order at the time that it was raised, and we completed that process. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 4556.
Third reading. Discussion to the bill. The member from Dakota, Representative Garofalo.
Madam Speaker and members, I rise in opposition to this bill and bring a couple points up to members of the body. First of all, a reminder to all members that we have no budget surplus. The budget surplus is gone as a result of the contraction of economic activity in our nation. Second of all, the budget reserve that the state of Minnesota is going to be committed and is already, in fact, committed to current obligations from an enacted budget. And third and finally is the federal dollars or future federal dollars, whatever is coming from the federal government to assist us, the requests for expenditures from those funds will be 10 times the resources that we receive. So on the budget matters alone, it is important that at some point, members of some chamber step up and ask how we are paying for things. Thus far, the state of Minnesota has passed in excess of $500 million in spending. This does not even include the hundreds of millions of dollars of the workman's comp solution we had last week, which again, we still do not have legislation on how to pay for. It is a conservative estimate that we together have passed expenditures of close to $1 billion without a way to pay for it. And so going forward, the commitment I have, and I would ask members to join me, is to oppose bills unless they are paid for. Unlike the federal government, we do not have the ability to borrow money. We must balance the budget. It is our constitutional duty, and I would ask members in that reason and going forward for future bills that have spending to oppose bills unless they are paid for. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Anoka, Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I'd had just a couple of questions about the bill, and I'm wondering if a couple of different people would yield to a question. First, Representative Mueller.
Representative Mueller will yield. Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Representative Mueller, I kind of gave you the heads up I was going to ask this question, but some of the members of our caucus had a concern on this, the cost of living adjustment for child support, and the fact that the legislature is saying we're going to allow this to be delayed as far as the time that you have to get in to have a hearing on that. And one of the concerns was that when a person is finally able to get in to have their hearing, maybe it's October or November, and the judge says, well, you know, now that we're here and having this hearing, yeah, we're going to go ahead and assess this almost 5% increased COLA to you, but you haven't been paying it. So you're going to have to pay all the back and any penalties that have accrued during that period of time. And I'm just wondering if you could address that concern. Thank you.
Representative Mueller.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Representative Scott. After we had that question in committee hearing, I did talk to our experts about that. And they said that there really are no fines or fees that get triggered if people don't pay that extra 4.7%. And so this really isn't going to be an issue at all. If anything, there might be a little interest, but that would just be on the 4.7%. So if someone can't afford to pay the increased cost of living adjustment, then they're not going to be triggering all of the other mechanisms to collect child support that would happen, say, if somebody falls into arrears or doesn't pay at all.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Mueller, for that answer. And I'm wondering if Representative Liebling would yield for a question.
She will yield. Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Representative Liebling, there seems to be some concern within our caucus, and we, of course, can't have everybody here on the floor with us today, but concerning the sections of the bill that have to do with the Department of Health, is there any authority granted to the Department of Health regarding requiring people to have immunizations if their parents or they themselves do not wish to have an immunization?
Representative Liebling.
Madam Speaker and Representative Scott, I'm not aware of that, but what is being waived here is authority related to COVID-19. It is not related to measles, it is not related to diphtheria, or any of the other things for which we vaccinate. So I don't, as I read the bill, there is no blanket authority for changing immunization policy. That's my take on it.
Representative Scott. Further discussion to the bill. The member from Olmsted, Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and would Representative Liebling yield for a question or two?
She will yield. Representative Quam.
My specific curiosity is, in all of the chapters are allowed for the commissioner to take action. Can you confirm that this bill will not grant the commissioner the power to ignore people's religious freedoms or other constitutional rights or the rights of their children?
Representative Liebling.
Madam Speaker and Representative Quam and members, I think that the First Amendment is kind of a higher authority than what we've got here. I don't think that's the intention. And I suppose that there could be some dispute about whether that is in fact happening in some cases. For example, I know there's been a lot of debate around the country about stay-at-home orders that effectively put the kibosh on religious gatherings. But remember that under our Constitution, there are even rights that are enumerated in the Constitution are not absolute rights. There are time, place, and manner restrictions that are upheld by the courts. So I don't think there's any intent, and I don't think there will be any infringement on anybody's religious rights. However, religious rights do have limitations, just like all other rights, and I can't predict that we won't be debating this at some point.
Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I want it on the record what is and is not intended in this bill, so that if a judge or someone in the other branch is trying to interpret legislative intent, that it is clear that legislative intent is not meant to grant the power to ignore parental rights, religious rights, or any other constitutionally related rights. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Further discussion to the bill. The member from Carver, Representative Bowe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have just a couple of quick questions, if I may, and I'm not sure which member would want to address that, but the first one is I see it on line 2 of the corrected, or I'm sorry, page 2 of the corrected version, line 2.10. So that might be like section 1, subsection 5, perhaps. It's talking about the open meeting law, and in particular, line 5, or subsection 5, line 2.10, it says, each location at which a member of the body is present is open and accessible to the public. And as I read that,
Representative Cagle will yield when you're done with your question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I read that, I question whether this would also apply in a member's own home, if they happen to be home recovering from surgery, et cetera, access to the public.
Representative Cagle will yield. Representative Cagle.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Representative Bowe. So that is our current law, and if you read below, there is actually, we're making exemptions to the open meeting laws. So if currently right now, anybody who is participating in government has to be in an open meeting in the area where there's open meeting. And so what we're doing is we're actually adding an exemption so that if somebody is under quarantine, that they are able to participate in local government through interactive television at the advice of their physicians.
Representative Bowe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, that's good, but it does make the exception that it can only happen 3 times in a calendar year, and certainly we could easily surpass that, I would imagine. So that is just a point that might require further study. In addition, I have a second question, if I may, Madam Speaker. And that is on page 10. In this particular section, we're looking at federal transit funds coming down to Met Council and Metro Transit, and I'm not sure which member that would be for.
Representative Tabke will yield. Representative Bowe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Tabke. As you may know as well, suburban opt-out transit providers are frequently struggling with Met Council and Metro Transit for funding, and so I would just like to see the need for Metro Transit to share these funding dollars to be a little more clearly spelled out, because protective equipment, safety training, frequent cleaning of transit vehicles, that's all very important, and I'd hate to see the suburban opt-outs lose that funding which should be shared. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tabke will yield. Representative Tabke.
Madam Speaker, I'm not sure that I heard a question in there, but there was, this money will flow to the opt-outs as well, if that's what you're asking, Representative Bowe.
That is. Thank you.
Any further discussion to the bill? Any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. We will, members, proceed to the roll call on the bill. And members who are at home on the phone can get ready to have a quiet environment, and you will be unmuted for the roll call.
Acom.
Aye.
Acom, aye. Albright.
No.
Albright, no. Anderson.
Aye.
Anderson, aye. Backer.
Aye.
Backer, aye. Bonner.
Bonner. Aye.
Bonner, aye. Barr. No. Barr, no. Baker.
Aye.
Baker, aye. Becker Finn.
Aye.
Becker Finn, aye. Bennett.
No.
Bennett, no. Bernardi.
Bernardi. Aye.
Bernardi, aye. Bierman.
Aye.
Bierman, aye. Bull. Bull, aye. Brand.
Aye.
Brand, aye. Cantrell.
Aye.
Cantrell, aye. Carlson, A.
Aye.
Carlson, A. Aye. Carlson, L.
Aye.
Carlson, L. Aye. Christensen.
Aye.
Christensen, aye. Claflin.
Aye.
Claflin, aye. Considine.
Considine. Aye.
Considine, aye. Daniels.
Daniels. No.
Daniels, no. Doubt. Doubt, aye. Davids. Davids, no. Davney. Davney, aye. Dean.
Aye.
Dean, aye. Damath.
Yes.
Damath, aye. Detmer. Detmer, aye. Drazkowski. Drazkowski, no. Eklund. Eklund. Edelson.
Aye.
Edelson, aye. Elkins.
Aye.
Elkins, aye. Erickson. Erickson, no. Fabian.
Aye.
Fabian, aye. Fisher.
Aye.
Fisher, aye. Franzen.
No.
Franzen, no. Freiberg.
Yes.
Freiberg, aye. Garofalo. Garofalo, no. Gomez.
Aye.
Gomez, aye. Green.
No.
Green, no. Grossel.
No.
Grossel, no. Grunhagen.
Grunehagen. No.
Grunhagen, no. Gunther.
No.
Gunther, no. Haley.
Aye.
Haley, aye. Halverson. Halverson, aye. Hamilton.
Aye.
Hamilton, aye. Hanson.
Aye.
Hanson, aye. Hassan.
Aye.
Hassan, aye. Hausman.
Houseman. Aye.
Hausman, aye. Heinrich.
No.
Heinrich, no. Heinzman. Heinzman, no. Her.
Yes.
Her, aye. Hertos.
Hertos. No.
Hertos, no. Hornstein.
Aye.
Hornstein, aye. Howard. Howard, aye. Hewitt.
Aye.
Hewitt, aye. Johnson. Johnson.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Jordan.
Aye.
Jordan, aye. Jurgens. Jurgens, aye. Keel.
Aye.
Keel, aye. Cleavorn. Cleavorn, aye. Cagle. Cagle, aye. Katiza Watun.
Katiza Watun, aye.
Katiza Watun, aye. Kosnick.
Cosmic, no.
Kosnick, no. Creshaw.
Aye.
Creshaw, aye. Kunish-Podine.
Aye.
Kunish-Podine, aye. Lehman.
Lehman, aye.
Lehman, aye. Lee.
Aye.
Lee, aye. Lesh. Lesh, aye. Liebling. Liebling, aye. Lean.
Aye.
Lean, aye. Lilly.
Aye.
Lilly, aye. Lippert.
Aye.
Lippert, aye. Lislegard.
Aye.
Lislegard, aye. Long. Long, aye. Lucero.
Lucero, no.
Lucero, no. Lewick.
Aye.
Lewick, aye. Mahoney.
Aye.
Mahoney, aye. Mann.
Aye.
Mann, aye. Mariani.
Aye.
Mariani, aye. Marquardt.
Aye.
Marquardt, aye. Mason. Mason, aye. McDonald. McDonald, no. Mecklin.
Mecklin, no.
Mecklin, no. Miller. Miller, no. Moeller. Moeller, aye. Moran.
Moran, aye.
Moran, aye. Morrison.
Aye.
Morrison, aye. Munson. Munson, no. Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Murphy, aye. Nash.
Nash, no.
Nash, no. Nelson M.
Aye.
Nelson M, aye. Nelson N.
Nelson N, aye.
Nelson N, aye. New. New, aye. Nor.
Aye.
Nor, aye. Nornis.
Aye.
Nornis, aye. Novotny.
Aye.
Novotny, aye. O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll, aye. Olson.
Aye.
Olson, aye. O'Neill.
O'Neill, no.
O'Neill, no. Pawlowski.
Aye.
Pawlowski, aye. Purcell.
Aye.
Purcell, aye. Petersburg.
Aye.
Petersburg, aye. Pearson.
No.
Pearson, no. Pinto.
Aye.
Pinto, aye. Poppy. Poppy, aye. Poston.
Aye.
Poston, aye. Pryor.
Aye.
Pryor, aye. Quam. Quam, no. Richardson.
Aye.
Richardson, aye. Robbins. Robbins.
Robbins, no.
Robbins, no. Runbeck. Runbeck, no. Sandell.
Yes.
Sandell, aye. Sandsted.
Aye.
Sandsted, aye. Sauk.
Yes.
Sauk, aye. Schumacher.
Yes.
Schumacher, aye. Schultz.
Aye.
Schultz, aye. Scott. Scott, no. Stevenson.
Aye.
Stevenson, aye. Sundin.
Aye.
Sundin, aye. Swazinski.
No.
Swazinski, no. Tabke. Tabke, aye. Tice.
Aye.
Tice, aye. Torkelson.
Aye.
Torkelson, aye. Erdahl.
Aye.
Erdahl, aye. Vang.
Aye.
Vang, aye. Vogel.
No.
Vogel, no. Wagenius.
Aye.
Wagenius, aye. Waslowik.
Aye.
Waslowik, aye. West.
Aye.
West, aye. Winkler.
Aye.
Winkler, aye. Wolgamott.
Wolgamott. Aye.
Wolgamott, aye. Zhang Jie.
Aye.
Zhang Jie, aye. Zhang Ti.
Aye.
Zhang Ti, aye. Joachim.
Aye.
Joachim, aye. Speaker Hortman. Speaker Hortman, aye. Eklund.
Aye.
Eklund, aye.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 103 ayes and 31 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to.